What up?
Hi.
Guess what I want to talk about?
Tell me.
Dude, okay, this is not interesting. This is a thumbs down kind of chit chat. Are you into it? Are you walking off?
I don't know yet.
Mark, don't leave. Okay. Okay, so I started therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started it on Monday. I have another appointment on Monday. Okay, so at the beginning of the year, this is weird. Okay, have you ever had this happen? I remember this happened at least one other time. Okay. I keep wanting to say this is weird, but it's probably not weird.
Okay.
I'm just being dramatic. I just want to say it again. Okay, moving along. Have you ever felt... I know the new year is an arbitrary day, but have you ever felt a shift in you? Like, you wake up, new year, new you. You wake up and you're just like, something is different. Have you ever had that happen?
Not really on the new year.
When have you had it happen on a birthday? What tell me
I
when
don't
this has
know.
happened. This sounds suspicious. Let's hear it.
I'm not sure. I don't think I can recall one that is really significant.
But have you ever had that happen in general? Where you just like one day you wake up and you just something is fundamentally different. Well, maybe not fundamentally, but you know what I mean. Something's different.
Yeah.
Dude, tell me about it.
I don't know. You just have to like let go of some shit, or I don't know.
You just wake up and you're good? Or what?
I think it's usually just like you're hanging on to some idea of something and then you just drop it and then you look forward to something else.
Okay.
Or at least that's the only thing that I can think.
Okay. I have not known this about you. Thank you for opening up. You should come to therapy with me. Just kidding. Okay. So, a few years ago, this is so weird. I think I told you this story. A few years ago, I had this dream on New Year's Eve. That night, I had a dream, and it was so fucking dramatic. Like, I got shot and I bled out. It was just so... And that's not a normal dream. Like, my dreams are fucking vanilla. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing exciting about my dreams. My dreams are very... They're very grounded. You know what I mean? They're very, like, casual. Okay. So I have this dramatic dream. This was probably... I don't even know. Like, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe 5? I don't know. This was a few years ago. So I have this dream, and I just wake up. Oh, the end. Okay, here. This is interesting to me, at least. Okay, so I get shot in the dream, but here's the thing. I was stressed out in the dream, and I was just like, all right. And I was like fighting with someone, like a stranger, and they were just like trying to push me around, and I couldn't fucking take it anymore. And I was just like, just fucking shoot me. Like, I just couldn't, like... I was just done with their bullshit. I was like 100% over the bullshit. And they did, right? And I bled out and it was all fucking dramatic. And at the end of the dream, like after that happened, like I shot through a fucking tunnel. Like it was like a dark tunnel of nothing where it was just like, I can't describe it other than it was like I was like... It was like if I was in a car and in the dark and going through a tunnel at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. You just feel this force of like going through space, but you can't really see anything. So I get shot through this tunnel and then I wake up. And I just had this weird fucking sense of just like 2 middle fingers, high. You know what I mean? Like the world can suck it. You know what I mean? It was just like this solid sense of... Like, I don't know. It just felt really very cleansing. I don't know. There's probably a better word. There's probably a more hilarious word. But that's how I felt. Okay, so that was then. And I even wrote down the dream. I was like, what the fuck was this, right? And I analyzed the dream and I was like, oh, like half this shit in this dream is just bad behavior on my part. Just me being ridiculous in life and just not realizing I have other options. Okay. So that was a few years ago. That was New Year's. This New Year, just something fucking shifted. It was like a not fundamental. It's like I'm the same fucking person, but the lens that I was seeing the world through, the lens fucking shifted. And and I signed up for like this manifestation like workshop thing. I'm rolling my eyes. I can't just. It sounds ridiculous, and I'm okay with that. So, I've been obsessed with the lady who made like the course or whatever. So I've been listening to like all of her, like every interview she's ever done. And in her interview, she was saying like, it's 15% spirituality and 85% like psychology.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's more like 15% manifestation and 85% like digging through your own shit. You know what I mean? Like go into your subconscious and try to, sorry, that was my alarm that's like recorded chit chat. You forgot last week. Okay. So I'm taking this course, and it's all about recovering your drama in your head. And her thing is, well, it's not even her thing. I guess it's psychology. In psychology, they say that like all your bullshit that you deal with for your entire life is actually like fundamentally formed between like the age of like birth and the age of 2 or something like that, right? Which I had never heard that, because why would I, right? They don't talk about this in hair videos on YouTube, right? I'm watching a hair video. No one's educating me about this. Okay. Yeah. So I'm taking this course for the next year. I signed up for a year. I'm committed. Something in me is shifted, so let's work through it. So I'm taking this course, and I'm fucking jazzed. I am so fucking pumped. All I want to talk about is all this, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, this is boring you to fucking tears. Okay, sorry. Okay. So I'm trying to text my sister about this, and every time, and I know how she, like, hippie shit triggers her, like, which is somewhat fun to a degree. It's kind of like, okay, we're not going to go there. So I'm trying to talk to her about this course, and every time I mention, like, some profound fucking, enlightening piece of wisdom, there's a lot of silence on the text message. So I have to change the subject if I want a conversation to keep going.
I see.
Okay. So I'm doing this course, and in the course she's trying to say, like, you have to figure out, like, not figure it out, there's a whole process, but you're essentially trying to make sense of, you're trying to recover information that you essentially probably, some people consciously remember it, but a lot of times you don't consciously remember it. You know what I mean? Like, Okay. So I'm taking this course. We're going through the fucking tunnels of my mind. And then, long story short, is I stumble upon this YouTube video by this doctor. Not Dr. Tangent. I wish it was Dr. Tangent. So I stumbled upon this video by this guy, like a bunch of videos. Dr. Gabor?
I've seen that name before. I don't know how to pronounce it either.
Gabr. No, O.
There's a famous jazz musician that also has
Gabor.
that name.
Gabor?
I don't know. It's Polish, I think.
It is Polish.
Yeah.
Okay. So him, Dr. Maté. Mate. Okay. I can only spell words. If it's 4 letters, I can get you there. You know what I mean? Not every time. So this guy has all these talks, and he talks to like rooms full of psychotherapists. Like that's usually his crowd. Like he's like super fucking famous. He's written all these books on like ADHD and like addiction, like childhood stuff. Like he's the man, right? So he talks to all these therapists, and he's so they stand up and they're asking him questions, and he's so fucking stoic. Like who knows what he's thinking or feeling. He's not expressing any of it on his face. Like he's just all business, right? Mm-hmm. But these people are asking these really emotional questions, right? And he's just like, he's listening with all of his eyes and ears, but he is not signaling any emotion with it's I'm dazzled. That was like the number one reason I clicked on a second video after the first video. I was like, who is this mysterious man? Like, how do you function without being all dazzling, like with your face? How do you just dazzle people with your ears and your eyes? Okay. So his talks are like 3 hours. He does like these mega fucking talks. His 15-minute talks are there's no proof. He draws conclusions in 15 minutes. If you listen to 3 hours, it's like he pieces the puzzle together, and you're like, okay, I need pieces. I don't need conclusions. I will draw the conclusions. I am also a doctor. Let me draw the conclusions. You just show me the evidence, doctor. Okay. So where is this going? Oh, so he's talking to this psychologist who is like, she's essentially in tears, right? Essentially? She's essentially, why does that sound weird in my head? Moving along. So she's in tears because she feels super frustrated with like her industry. Like, you know, whatever. Like, she's in some sort of mental health facility, you know, and she's got her heart is in it. And why don't these people, like, they don't understand, right?
Yeah.
She's like, and she's crying, she's emotional, she's a wreck. And he's listening, and he's asking questions, and she's just talking more. And he just fucking says, in the most fucking monotone, stoic, doesn't, like, his middle fingers are in the air. He doesn't give a fuck. He just says, like, is this the first time you felt this way before? Or he says something like, this is probably not the first time you felt this. And she's, like, crying. She's like, no. and he's like, and that's kind of the heart of all of his talks. And every question that he asks is essentially, like, the situations that are causing you, you know, drama in your life right now, or, you know, turmoil or confusion or whatever the fuck, right? All your fucking traumatic situations right now, they're not the source of, like, your bullshit. Like, okay, so he says this, my mind is blown, okay? So what was it, like, when did my sister die? Like, was that 4 years ago, 5 years ago,
so.
3 years ago?
4 or 5. Okay,
so 4 or 5 years ago, my older sister dies, and that completely rewired my nervous system. Like, I'm physiologically stuck. I'm like, there's just some weird fucking situation that is just, it's fucked, okay? So I'm always thinking, like, dude, that situation really traumatized me. Like, not even mentally, like, physically. Like, I just feel like, okay. So I feel all this thing. So I'm listening to his videos, and he's saying that essentially that the trauma that I experienced with my sister's death didn't, like, it didn't form, like, her death didn't create the trauma. It resurfaced the trauma. Like, whatever issue I had inside, it was like her, you know, like, this current traumatic situation just, okay.
Do you feel like that's true?
Dude, 100%. It was, it like, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, what the fuck? Because, you know, for the last, like...
Do you know what it is?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like abandonment. Because when she, like, her death, it was like, it didn't feel like... Because I couldn't make sense of it. It was like, why do I... Like, I feel so traumatized, but I don't feel, like, traumatized by, like, grief or loss. Like death kind of loss. Like, it was like, all of a sudden, every visual of, like, deep abandonment, but not of the past. It was like, Mark's gonna die, like, all this awful shit. Like, my parents, they're on their way out, right? Like, just all, but not even, like, on not like a calm, rational, like, oh, let's think about this, right? It was like deep fucking emotions of just, like, you know, you're packing your bag, right? It was the depths of abandonment that was, like, the corner, and I couldn't make sense of it for so long. I was like, why would I not feel this depth of grief about her death, even though it's impacted me so? Like, I couldn't make sense. It just didn't seem like it. Like, why would this feeling that's related to her death feel so... Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, like, there was, like, a disconnect, but it was 100% linked. It was like, why would this cause this? if it has to do with this, it's like, this makes no sense. And then it was like, so I watched like tons of it. Like I watched hours and hours and hours of his talks. And that just put my jaw on the floor, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to text this to my sister, my little sister, because I'm completely dazzled with psychology. Like I'm dazzled with like the weird intricacies. Like who knows how things work? Apparently Dr. Maté is that how you say it?
I don't know.
M-A-T.
Maté sounds South American.
As many videos as I watch, a lot of the intros when they're like, we're so honored to have, and then they say his name, and then he shows up and he's like, and then he'll say his name, he's like, I just want to hear my name said the right way or some shit. Oh my god, I'm part of the problem. Okay, if only we could have him as a guest, and then he just says his name and then takes a hike out. Okay, so where's all this going? Oh, so I'm texting all of this bullshit to my sister. This is how my new year is. It's like, it's all trying to make sense of that, like of trying to make sense of all the secret bullshit in the back of my, whatever, in the back of my mind, right? So every time I discover any of this, and not necessarily discover it in myself, but like hear someone say something that, like triggers some sort of discovery. So I'll text shit to my sister, and like I said, she's just like, her middle fingers are in the sky. Like, she doesn't care, right? So then I tell her, okay, so I hear all this stuff, right? And I'm like, oh my God, like, this is, like, I could use a professional fucking, like, whatever. Like, when you tap someone in, when you're, you know what I mean? Like, we're, what is that? What is the analogy? We're wrestling. I need a little help. So I'm like, oh, I should get a fucking professional. Like, who am I? I'm over here watching fucking videos. Like, I don't know. There's got to be some detective that would be hilarious to say. What was that?
Sherlock Holmes?
I was thinking the cartoon one.
Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah, something on that level. Like, okay. I'm over here being Carmen Sandiego.
Or Inspector Gadget.
That's actually what I was thinking.
Okay, yeah.
I couldn't fucking think of his name. Okay, so I'm being, what would you just say?
Inspector.
I'm being an inspector. Oh, yes! yes! Adding more to my alter ego. So I'm over here being Dr. Tangent / Inspector something. Okay. Okay. So it's too much, right? Like, in addition, here's the thing, and this is just my personality. I think you should do as much that, you know what I mean? Like, if you're interested, if your hobby is fucking self-discovery, there you go. And obviously mine is. So I'm doing all this, and I was like, oh, I should also, not in place of, but in addition to what I'm doing, I should get a fucking professional. Like, who the hell am I? I'm just like some person who...
You don't have a PhD?
No PhD, dude. Not even close. I can barely fucking spell. Like, I shouldn't be doing this on my own. So I get a therapist, which just saying that out loud, I just feel like a fucking adult. It's about goddamn time I'm an adult. Like, seriously. It's like, who's even talking? Who is this adult using big words? This is impressive. Okay. So I get a therapist, and I text my sister, and I was like, hey, I don't know what I said. I just said something about, I went to therapy. Oh, I said, this is what I texted her. I was like, I went to therapy, and I sat down, and the first, like, she asked me, like, one question, and I instantly started crying. It was so dramatic, dude. And my sister was instantly like, tell me everything. I was like, what? 5 minutes, like, you don't want to hear any of the hippie bullshit. You want to hear about the doctor visit. I was like, get your own doctor. So she was like, text me all of it. And so I'm in the middle of texting this fucking, 400-page book to her, which that's how I like to text in long paragraphs. And then halfway through my text, it's like, I'm going to call you later. And I was like, yes, I'm getting attention for fucking mental illness. Okay. But then I was like, busy. And then I couldn't take her call. And then she was like, I'll call you tomorrow. I was like, sorry, I've got a date night tomorrow. And then And then I was like, okay, I'm tired. So as much as I'm like, please be my friend, I'm also like, busy, no time for your bullshit. Okay, so that's my story. That's not really much of a story. That's more like talking about talking. So that's where I'm at in life, 2019. All right, add something. We need to draw this. We need to find an end. This story needs a finale.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Dude, we need to look up how to say that guy's name. I feel like I knew how to say it. You ever feel that way in your mind?
Sometimes.
You feel like you got it down, and then the second you open your mouth, you're like, this is not coming out right at all. I feel like you're more confident. You got more skills in the vocabulary.
I don't know. There's a lot that I need to look up, but I don't.
You did come up with Carmen Sandiego and Inspector. Dude, Inspector. Dude, that shit's official. All right, moving along. Peace.